Greetings. Do you have your ticket? You don't have one, my friend? No problem. Just hit the subscription button below and come on in. Hey guys, DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey, I just wanted to share some information. Not fresh, not I guess fresh in terms of just hearing about it, but not new information in regards to things that I've discussed and shared before. And of course, not of course, I'm talking about social engineering again. And if you remember last week, in a previous video, I shared with you a situation that was going on in some of the public schools in the state of Massachusetts, and I'm sure that's not the only places that is happening, but how they were forcing a particular agenda, upon children, and that's ultimate, what you would call alternative, lifestyle agendas, presenting at to 12-year-old boys, and girls, as though it was some socially correct necessary program that they needed to embrace to be better people, as though I as parents couldn't make the decision on in terms of defining for our children what will make them better human beings, that we need teachers and government organizations, along with the support that they get from industry. We're talking about entertainment industry, sports industry. We talked about the situation with Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union taking their 9-year-old son, who, according to them, is professing that he's gay. But as though we need outside entities to guide us, because as parents, with our limited moral values, with our limited experience on life, in the perils of life, and the paths to success, as though we're inept, impotent, around being able to coach and teach these things in our own household with our beloved children. Well, today, there are two other situations that just kind of up the ante here. The first is, there's some information right now. Let me read it to you, because it's probably easier. Now, this is Charlize Theron, the actress, okay? Charlize Theron reveals her daughter, 7, is transgender. Charlize Theron reveals her daughter, who's 7 years old, is transgender. The Academy Award winner revealed that her eldest child is transgender. By the way, it's a black little boy who she adopted. According to the actress, Jackson, 7 years old, that's the name of her boy, who's a girl now, according to her, was assigned male at birth, but told Theron when he was 3 years old that he was actually born a girl. Now, you didn't misunderstand me when I said that. He told her when he was 3 years old that he was born a girl. Now, if that's not the tail wagging the dog, I don't know what is. Shows what kind of idiot she is. Yes, I thought she was a boy too, the 43-year-old admitted to the Daily Mail, until she looked at me when she was 3 years old and said, "I am a boy." I'm sorry. I am not a boy. So I have 2 beautiful daughters who, just like any parent, I want to protect and I want to see strive, the atomic blonde star said. They were born who they are, and exactly where in the world both of them should find themselves to find themselves as they grow up. And they want to be, and who they want to be is not for me to decide. Well, Theron, I'll call you by your last name, Theron. Don't you realize that it is your responsibility? No, you don't realize. We, the people of Yahweh, the real people of Yahweh, the people who love Yahweh, even those who are grafted in with those people who love Yahweh, we are taught very early on that we train up a child in the way that it shall grow. And when it gets old, it won't depart. We are not told that the child gets born and tell us what way it wants to grow, and then, tell us how to go about assisting them in that growth. I mean, I could give you 1,000 examples of ridiculous things that a child can tell you that they want it to be, And that if I told you I was going to support those things, what if my child said, I think I was born a dog, a four-legged dog. So I just want to crawl and I just want to eat dog food and I just want to bark. I don't want to talk. You know what I'm saying? I just want to lay around on rugs and couches and I want to go outside and poop and pee. Will we assist them in that? Since we're leaving it up to 3-year-olds to determine what they want to be now. And it does not slip my attention that, again, this is a European female, Australian female, who takes, little children of color and causes great dysfunction in their lives. Chaos. And, I told you guys about the situation with the two women, the two lesbian women who drove off a cliff in Northern California and killed 6 children of color. Why? Because they didn't know how to raise the kids. And when the kids were acting their normal self, the normal energetic self, being resistant, being creative, like children of color, most children are, but children of color in particular, are very, very active, mentally and physically. And because they didn't know how to manage that, they started to abuse the children. And then when CPS, the protection services got wind of it, what did these two demons decide to do? Give them all Benadryl, drug them up, and then drive off a cliff and kill everybody, including themselves. And yet we're supposed to be comfortable in trusting, your judgment, taking children of color and distorting the natural order of things with these children at 3 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old, 12 years old. Like there's not going to be enough time at 16, 17, 18 and beyond for them to make those decisions. Like Jay-Z mother. Yeah, interestingly enough, I'm sure you guys, I didn't listen to his album, I don't give a damn about his music, personally. Okay? I just don't. I mean, it is what it is. But in this album, I think it's 444, him and his mother on there talking about that she's a lesbian. Well, Jay-Z, good news for you. I'm glad she decided to be a lesbian after your ass was born. Because other than that, we wouldn't know no jigger. There wouldn't be a jigger if what you're promoting in music now, for some reason, after 20-something years in entertainment, now all of a sudden, everybody ought to know who your mother want to sleep in the bed with. Since it's someone who is or should be a mother. Or could be a mother, for all I know. But that's important, Jay-Z. You got to push that. You have to use your platform to push that social engineering injustice on children. And I call it unjust because these children have a right to be raised as who they are. And then when they become of age, they can make those decisions themselves on what their lifestyle or life patterns or life choices are going to be. Our responsibilities as parents, you guys know this. And if you don't, let me help you with this. Is to teach and train them up in the ways of the Most High, which really is another way of saying with morals and values that are consistent with living a full life. And then whatever they add into that life as they get older and they layer in, that's between them and their loved ones. When they're at a point to be, where they're at a level of maturity, where they can comprehend, understand consequences of the decisions that they make. That's why they're called juveniles. Because they're not ready to make adult decisions. When they come of age and they're no longer juveniles, then they can make adult decisions, and guess what? They can be held accountable for those decisions. That's why when juveniles commit crimes, you know that they don't put their names in the news, they don't put their faces on television. Because they're juveniles. They're still developing, they're still growing. They're not adults, and they should not be put in compromising situations where they're having to make adult decisions as children as who you're going to sleep with or who you prefer to sleep with. It's your responsibility if a 3-year-old comes and says, I want to be a girl, and he's a boy. I say, no, baby, you're a boy. Now here. And then you start working with them on how to grow and prosper as a boy. And if later on they decide they want to do something different, I'm sure they may warn you or tell you about it, but they damn sure ain't going to be asking your permission. This is insanity, guys. And it gets worse and worse. Every day you think you've heard it all, and then you hear something like this comes up again and again and again. As people of color, the Aboriginal Hebrew Israelites of this nation, we're already suffering in numbers, male numbers. We're the lowest percent of the population that are native to this land already. And for the most part, we have the biggest burdens to bear. The least employed, the most incarcerated, the most in broken home environments, most in poverty. And now we're going to layer in the fact that now we're going to train our little boys to be girls. Like that's going to help us in numbers. Like that's going to strengthen us as a community. Or even worse, teach our little girls to be boys. Boy, what a great way to stunt population growth in a community where there's not a lot of growth going on anyway. And yet we have, these supposed to be influential people, Theron, Academy Award actors, Hollywood, whatever the hell they call that. Jay-Z, Grammy-winning, artist. Dwayne Wade, NBA All-Star. And what do we have to hear from these jokers in the last week? Gay, homosexual, gay. Come on, you guys, are you kidding us? And you don't think we can't see what's going on here? It's clear what the agenda is. And see, if I wanted to go out on a limb, I'd say this sounds very similar to the eugenics message, 50, 70 years ago with Margaret Sanger and that group, eugenics. They're heathens, they're beasts. We need to do everything we can. Let's make the boys sterile. Let's lock them up. You know what I'm saying? Let's get rid of the ones who are not intelligent enough. Let's get them all out. Just eliminate them. Sort of what I guess they accused of the Nazis are doing. I shouldn't say accused because I think they were doing it. But eliminating the race by other means. And people of color, I'm talking to you mainly here. Where are your voices? I'm not asking you to make a choice between homosexual and not homosexual, gay and not gay. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm asking for your support in protecting these children. And giving these children an opportunity to grow up in their natural selves, as Yahweh made them. And then letting them decide when they come of age, when they're no longer juveniles. Trust me, they will tell you. And as a sibling of a lesbian sister and a homosexual brother who's now deceased. If you follow my videos, my brother died at 30 years old, 29 years old of AIDS. AIDS, AIDS. Yeah, that's what killed him. He was incarcerated when he died. And I don't even want to get into all the horrors with my little sister and those kind of things. Again, we have a responsibility to these children, people of color. It's not Charlene's decision or any other non-person of color decision on what should be happening with our children. Black fathers, so-called black fathers and mothers, you are the ones that are responsible for this chaos that's going on in the community. And if you don't step up real soon and get on point and get your minds right, get your heads, out of the clouds, you're going to look around one day and you're not going to see any grandchildren. You're going to look around one day and you ain't going to see any legacy behind you. And it's going to be your fault for following, mainstream social engineering about what's good and what's not good for civilization. You were born with wisdom and insight and common sense by the time you start using it. In the first place, you need to start is protecting these children from these pedophiles and predators. Thank you. I hope somebody get that little 7-year-old boy from this witch before it's too late.